So I've got, and I'm going to take it 2 Corinthians 11, chapter 21, and we will get, that doesn't mean that's where I start. We're going to go to where we stop, and then we'll keep going. But he makes a statement, to our shame, I say that we were too weak for that. But in whatever anyone is bold, I speak foolish. I am bold also. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they seeds of Abraham? So am I. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more in labor, more abundant, stripes above measure, in prisons more frequently, and death often. 24, Jim?
24. 5 times I received from the Jews 39 lashes. 3 times I was beaten with rods, shipwrecked. The night and the day I have spent in the deep. I have been on frequent journeys, in dangers from rivers, dangers from robbers, dangers from my countrymen, dangers from the Gentiles, dangers in the city, dangers in the wilderness, dangers on the sea, dangers among false brothers.
Stop just there. I want you to go back. I want you to see the book you're reading out of. Now I want you to see another book. There's a lot of things that were dropped. I don't know how. Yes, sure was. That's
this
NIV.
is the New American Standard.
Well, where they were dropped. So I want you to see this. Go. Somebody else have another reading?
I have a New International Version.
That's. I'll hear it. Let me see if it drops some things.
They say, what shall I start?
24.
24, okay. It says this: 5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1.
Okay.
3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned.
Stop. Yours didn't say I was stoned.
I skipped over. It said beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3
Well,
times.
then you can't read. Lord, that's what the problem is. Lord.
Well,
what school you go to?
It was a long time ago.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now, go ahead, Jim. Now I got it. Because I heard you drop a lot of stuff. And I was like, what kind of Bible he got?
I got to practice.
You know, that's one of the reasons I don't like
Jim,
speaking.
welcome back.
You have to lose a lot of stuff.
Yes,
a lot of stuff.
you do. And we
You
don't
got to
want
sit
to
down and read word for word.
That's
to
it.
understand.
You got to see it. Because that's important. I was stoned. That's important. 40 times minus 1.
That's 95 lashes.
Yeah, that's very important that we understand.
You see that slave with just 3 or 4 lashes?
Yeah.
Paul had 95 lashes.
Can you imagine? Over and over. Man, guys, beaten for what? Isn't that something? Beaten for what? Because he deserved it, right? Because he deserved it. He know better. He shouldn't be out there. Didn't the government tell him not to do that?
That was threatening power.
Isn't that something?
Didn't his leader die? Didn't he kill Jesus already?
Yeah, you hear me? These are the things that we miss. And that's why I'm bringing these things to all of our attention. Because I know your Bible says we are to follow the laws of the government. But it also, in your Acts 4 chapter, you can see that they were challenged to the apostles. And they were to follow the laws as long as they were not contrary to God's word. And so this is what we have to see. Yes, we are to follow the rules, the law. But the law is saying that we should shut the churches down. Oh, y'all don't hear me. This is when it's contrary to scriptures. But the law is saying, but you don't understand, there's a coronavirus out there that will kill all of us. You don't hear me. I'm saying no one will die before their time.
Amen.
Dude, that's right.
I'm saying when you see something that's out there that we would say it's out of our hands, it's never out of God's hands.
Amen.
I said, so God is always in control. Always in control. The issue is, if anything, that we need to do is call, and I believe this is the lesson, not to the world. I believe this is a lesson to the saints. When do we learn to trust God?
Amen.
I believe that's the issue. When we learn to trust God, and here's a situation that we certainly, Well, say, well, I know, you know, somebody said you need to sit 6 feet away from one another. Okay, but you hear what I'm saying? Listen to this. Someone says, you know, I'm going to shut the church down, but what we're going to do is live stream it. And then what we've got is an e-pay or whatever it is that you can make your contribution. What is it? What do you got? No, it's something else that the church has, that they got set up for the church.
You're going to make sure they get paid.
What'd you say? Okay.
That's the virtual play.
But I want you to see that. Let's go back. Now, where did you stop? 27 is where I need you to now walk. Harris, brother Harris. 27.
27, verse 27.
28. 27, 28.
It says, I have labored and toiled and have often gone without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst and have often gone without food. I have been cold and naked. Besides everything else, I face daily the pressure of my concern for all the churches.
Let me stop there. And like I said, eventually we'll get into this a little bit later. But this sounds like maybe I'm missing something. But this sounds like a sacrifice. This sounds like someone that's, wait a minute, but when I look at the church, or when I look, so often do we see a building and call it the church. But Paul says, these physical things I've done for you, that you're the church. So these physical things I've done for you, watch this. Ask yourself, I want you to go back and I'm going to make you stop. But I want you to go back and I'm going to stop you every time. 27. Go again. 27 says what?
I have labored and toiled.
Stop. Did you catch it? That's one of them. Catch? Did you catch it? Now, what I'm saying is this. Ask yourself. Why you sitting way back there? You know you're going up here. So I can bother you.
Next to my husband.
So, oh, and he left you. Lord, I mean, he could at least left you at the house. He didn't have to come all the way here and leave you. Lord.
He's there.
Okay, but anyway. But listen to what I'm saying. You said labor.
He has labored and toiled.
Watch this. Labored is what? The work, right? He's done the work. What kind of work would he have done? Let's just deal with it. What kind of work would he have done?
Tent man. He was a tent man.
Well, he said,
That
but
was
is he talking about his tent
Preaching the
making?
gospel.
He's talking about his preaching of the gospel. Whoa. He's talking about his teaching. Whoa.
Pharisee.
He's talking about his lifestyle.
That's right.
He says, I've gotten, what I've done is, see, you can say, Brother Tom, you preach good. You can say, Brother Tom, you teach good. But as soon as I live here, party, get my groove on, let me do this. What, you call me, Teresa, what the blanket, do you know it's my day off? What are you calling me for? But you hear what I'm saying? So that it is also my lifestyle. It's my walk. Now watch this. The other word was toil. You know what toil means? That's the same word that you get out of 2 Timothy, 2nd chapter 15 verse. Study he says what? The word is study. Study means diligently. Diligent means toil. You spend some serious time in God's Word. I've said I don't have to talk to you but just a little bit and can tell whether or not you're biblically sound. Don't have to talk to you but just a little bit to find out where your thinking is. Is it materialistic or is it spiritualist? Which one is it? Why do you talk about Corona when we should be talking about souls that are lost? You all hear me where I'm coming from? Let me state this. There was a city called Laodicea. And in that city, Paul speaks about it in your Colossian letter. But you would think Paul would have brought up Laodicea. After all, it was a city that was completely destroyed in a major earthquake. Completely destroyed. So you would have thought Paul would have said, what I want to do is, this morning I want to talk to you all about Laodicea that is no longer in existence because the Lord has taken that city. Why didn't he talk about it? He didn't. Paul talked about our Lord and Savior Jesus the Christ. Were you not aware that that city had fallen, had completely disappeared? Yes, I'm well aware of it. Paul was also an educated man. So we can't remove that. So we've got Paul labored, Paul toiled. Come on, let me watch this. Now, I'm going to get out of this. But he says what? He did what? What else? Come on.
He says,
I've labored and toiled.
He says, I have, excuse me.
27. 27.
Yeah, I have labored, I have known hunger and thirst, and have often gone without food.
Watch this. You missing something else?
Yes, sleepless nights.
Lord,
I have been cold and naked.
No, you missing.
Oh, I have labored and toiled and have often gone without sleep.
See now, what class, what school did you go to? Okay.
I went to school.
But this is what I'm talking about. Look at this.
I went for the buses.
But listen to what I'm talking about. If you stop and think about it, would you lose sleep behind doing God's work? Well, I'd like to, but you don't understand. Brother, you don't know what time you called me. I need to get my sleep. I need to get my rest on. Would you lose sleep if you got a soul that's calling you because they're mentally torn up? They just need somebody to talk to. What'd you do? Somebody said, well, yeah, I could do that. Would you study? As he says, labor and toil. Would you study to the point that you don't see a clock? That when you finally realize what time it is, you say, oh, Lord, and I got to be somewhere the next morning. But it was just so good to listen to what I'm talking about. This is a saint that says, I am no longer conformed. I am now transformed. You don't understand. I need Jesus every second. Every minute I need him in my life. So let me cling to him. So sleepless, come on. Says what?
He says, I have gone without sleep, I have known hunger and thirst, and have often gone without food.
Lord have mercy.
I have been cold and naked.
Lord have mercy. He didn't have enough.
I've been cold and
He
naked.
didn't have enough clothing.
Yes.
You got to stop and think about it. Where he's at, it got not cold, very cold. Yes. Can you imagine? I heard him say it one time, could you have John Mark to bring my clothes?
Bring my clothes and the project.
Because he's cold. I says, our prisons aren't the same. Don't you understand if our prisons were to change? Did you know folks would slow down on doing wrong? Did you know that? If our prisons were to change, if you found out you weren't getting 3 squares, if you found out that your work was really work, what would you do? Stop and think about it. If you found out that you had to feed the critters before you ate, what would you do?
Grow your own food.
If you found out, I'm talking, no, you're in prison, you can't grow that.
Well, they let it farm in some places.
Well, watch this. What would you do if, when we start to think about that, I says, your bed is a rock, your bed is the earth, and the earth is cold. What would you do? See, you'd say, what? I know one place I ain't going no more. Prison. When we start making prison, accommodating prisons for the guards, for the people that have committed, that have murdered somebody.
It's luxury in the United States.
You got it. Watch this. I no longer want to be homeless, so why don't I go ahead and do something that will put me in prison? Because in prison, you see it all the time, we get what, 3 squares?
And a cup.
And a cup. Can you hear me? So watch this. I can take a shower. I can go watch TV. Stop and think about it. Look at all the luxuries. But we're trying to conform. We're trying to transform them. No, we're not. When you put prison like prison is supposed to be, see, you ain't got to cut nobody's hands off. You ain't got to do none of that. You just make prison prison. And somebody said, I'm going to tell you one thing, I'll never go again. When it gets out that prison is worse, you know, the media runs and you see how they're treating the people. They committed a crime. Where do you get off giving them a luxury? That's right. That was taken from them. They took somebody's life and all you can give them is 3 years? Stop and think about it. No. That's why I've said over and over when we stop and think about it, the Old Testament, a lot of that law that was laid out by God, some of that was permanent.
That's right.
Somebody said, but an eye for an eye, 2 for 2. Some of that was permanent. That was designed for our living conditions in this world to be better. But the government says it doesn't make money. So since it doesn't make money, what we need to do is accommodate. So it's a nice, that's why you see, and I know you all see this on the news, more chase. Helicopters all over them, more, they ripping and running, and they're forever running. Why? Because what do I get? All it does is add to my sentence.
Yes.
And what do I get behind it? Nothing but a little bit longer in prison. And here's the human mind. Human beings, we were made from God. God put in us His image and His likeness. His likeness is His intellectual side. His intellectual side, then here's how it works for us. We have the ability to adapt to our environment.
Amen.
So if I'm in prison, I will adapt to my environment. So when I come back out, you don't get it. I've already adapted to that environment. So then what do? I need to go out and kill somebody else. Because I need to get back home. Because that is my environment. But we miss this. So now watch this. 28 says what?
28 says this. Besides everything else, I face daily the pressure of my concern for all the churches.
See that? But Paul, you messed this up. But you should have said, but you face what daily? All of my pressure. What'd you say, my?
He says here in 20, he says here
28?
in 28, besides everything else, I face daily the pressure of my concern for all the churches.
No, not for all the churches. Should have just said for me. Did you hear me? You should have just said for me.
Oh, okay.
But no, your scriptures is right.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Oh, I'm sorry.
But what do our thinking says me. Our thinking says me.
That's right.
It's all about me. It's all about what I gain, what I can accomplish. It's a me issue. The world has made us become me's. Very selfish individuals. So then now I want to get out of this. Fred, it's your time. 29 says what?
Who is weak, and I am not weak? Who is made to stumble, and I do not burn with
Indignation.
indignation?
Come on. Listen to what he says. Who is weak?
Yes.
Who is weak? And I am not weak. I understand. Who is weak? And I am not weak. What is he talking about? Hey, see? I got you. We in La La Land? What we got? Did you catch it?
Yeah.
Look at it. He says, and I am not weak. Okay, guys, you got your paper, right? Your paper, you should have saw what I put down for 29. See 29? Tip, you got 29?
Where it says he suffered.
Yes.
He suffered and sympathized and felt the sufferings of others. When others were weak, he counted himself as weak in order to drive himself to teach them more. When others were offended, that is, led astray and caused to stumble into sin, he became indignant and inflamed against those who set the evil example or taught the false doctrine.
Now does that make sense? Weak, and I am not weak. If you don't see it, raise your hand. But this is what, okay, go ahead.
What paper are you guys in?
We're still in 2 Corinthians 11, 13, 33. All the way to the back, closer to the back and come over.
Second and last page.
The one that says 29.
It should say actually 29. You see 29? No, do you have 1133?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second to last page, second to bottom paragraph.
Maybe she might
Not
not
that
have,
difficult.
because I did some stuff over and over. What's that? Right there. Huh? Isn't that something? But you know what I see more than anything? He says, back into your scripture, he says, who is weak? And I am not weak. He's not saying whoever is weak. See, you don't understand. I am not weak. He's not saying that. He's saying, yes.
I think he's saying, in addition to what Steve said, sometimes you have to meet people where they are.
You got it.
You have to meet them where they are.
So-
when you go out to win souls to Christ, you know, I think you used the example, the guy that was at the bar and maybe was a little tipsy, but you still addressed him. You still addressed the concern.
Right, right.
So you realize he was not 100%
Right.
where he needed to be,
Right.
but you met him where he was.
Right. And
Let's
so,
see what-
Paul, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, all the stuff that we went through, and I don't see him saying that I'm not weak. He's really saying I'm weak too, but for the cause of Christ.
But I keep going.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm going to keep going. So what are you saying? I'm willing to ignore the pain. I always turn this into an athletic thing. See, that athlete, even though it's, come on, Steve, you've been there. You know, that coach told you got to run. And boy, and you see some of your teammates, they throwing up while they out there running. And you keep going and your body is aching and it's hurting, but you keep going. How about when you're lifting weights and it's burning you? Here's a good one. How about riding a bike and you're going up that hill? Oh, okay, just hear me. And it's burning. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And it's burning, but you keep going. You keep going. So what he's saying is, I recognize the pain. Oh, don't get me wrong. It is hurting. But I'm not going to stop.
That's right.
I'm going to keep going. He says, I recognize the church and what she's been suffering.
Yes.
But I'm not going to give up on her. I'm going to keep working to do. That's why I labor.
Amen.
That's why I toil. So that's why them sleepless nights. That's why I was cold and naked. These are the things that I was doing. And I told you, church is not a building, and for some reason or another, we keep putting it as a building. When I came in this morning, this building was cold. I wasn't, but this building was cold. So the building's cold, but I'm not. Well, when Christ comes back, he's not coming back to get this cold building. He's coming back to get me. He's coming back to get you. You're the church. But he's coming back to get that remnant. That remnant is that one or those that have made sacrifices in their lives. You're willing to understand the pain that you're going to have to go through as a saint.
Amen.
But you're willing to take it and keep going. I've made it so, I say it so often. Where do we get off thinking sacrifice means, well, okay, I'll give this up, but it's really I didn't give up anything. That's not a sacrifice. A sacrifice is when something that you care for, something that you really cherish, but you're willing to let it go for the sake of someone else. That's a sacrifice. And this is Christ. Well, I mean, last time I checked, I thought I heard him say when he was at Gethsemane, I thought I heard him say, Father, remove this cup from me. I thought I heard him say that. Watch this. The me in him says, they ain't worth it. No. No. If I had it my way, I ain't gonna do it. But he says, but be it not my will. But he says, but thy will be done. So, what do you mean? Guys, I said, if we really understood this, Christ says, I'm now going to do my Father's will. My Father's will requires me to take the ultimate sacrifice. My Father's will says, don't say a word. My Father's will says, even if they spit in your face, remember what you're there for. My Father says, they're going to go beyond 40 stripes. They're going to go beyond that. Then they're going to turn you over and beat you some more. My Father says you won't be able to be identified in the flesh as being Jesus. Right. All of that, then this. Then I'm put on that tree. Now remember, I've done my Father's will. All of this, and then I'm put on that tree. And I feel my Father's Spirit not with me. And I say, my God. And I heard him say, why? Did you hear me? He says, why hast thou forsaken me?
Because he was sin.
And I've done everything you told me to do. I did everything you told me to do. And then you leave me. That's flesh talking. That's not spirit talking. That's flesh talking. Because the Spirit says, it's finished. Did you hear me? The flesh talked in that period of time. The Spirit talked in the end. It's finished. See that? That's the sacrifice that none of us will make. And if you ever make that sacrifice that you're going to take away the sins of the world, you better be done as they go. Okay? Because you can't remove no sin. You are sin. It's God's grace. And only God's grace that we enter into the kingdom of heaven. So then, it's time to move on. He says 30, he says what?
If I must boast, I will boast in the things which concern my infirmity.
I want you to see this. Because when we get into 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, if Paul had boasted, what would have happened to him?
A thorn in the flesh.
Remember, you can see it in 2 Corinthians 12th chapter. If Paul decided to boast about himself, he was reminded because that thorn in him that flesh. And watch this. And God used Satan to do it with.
Amen.
No. God, Satan, no. And God used Satan. God told Satan, this is what you're going to do. Not, I'm asking you, could you do this for me? No. This is what you're going to do. Did you hear me? And Satan says, I am to respond. I am going to do it. I said, it's amazing. Satan is aware of time, of the time that we're in.
Yes.
He's aware of it.
Yes.
We got all the information we need to be aware of it.
Yes.
But what do? Satan knows his time is short.
Yes.
Satan says, I got to go and watch this. And he knows because he's seen God. He says, hey, y'all don't get it. He's real.
Yes.
He really is real.
I don't like you.
And, right. And whatever he says is going to happen. I can't stand it because he's already placed judgment on me. I can't enter into the kingdom of heaven. I can't go. So I therefore can't stand him. But I can't remove that he's not real. He's real. And because he's real, then there imposes a situation at hand. What do you mean? I know that he's given me a certain time to do my dirty work and then to bring this to an end. We keep saying time and time again, his dirty work. Now we're in a time period where we really see it.
Yes.
The coronavirus and the stores are closing down and everything is shutting down. The schools are shutting down. And I know my wife said, and I heard Sade say, now you got to work from home because they don't even want you at the job. What more do you need to take on? And please, I always say it. I got a whole lot of them in my drawer. Take some wake-up pills. You need to take some wake-up pills and realize our time here is short.
Yes.
We don't know when God is going to take us, but we know he's going to take us.
Yes.
So then, why are we playing this game of not doing his will? When we should be doing his will. Why? Because don't we all want to enter into the kingdom of heaven one day? Stop and think about it. So then, and it's interesting. He says, let me go ahead and boast. He said, no way in the world am I going to boast. And if I boast, then I'm going to talk about my infirmities. I'm going to talk about infirmities meaning my weakness. I'm going to talk about all of my weaknesses. Could you do that? Could you explain your weaknesses? Would you do that? Hear me. What was his name? Kirk Franklin says, I had a problem. You know, I watched porn movies and I had porn magazines. You know what the world and Christians did too? He ought to be ashamed of himself. The nerve of him to be sinner. I can't believe that he was watching porn. I can't believe he was looking at magazines. I can't believe this. The man just made a confession. Lord have mercy. The man just explained his weaknesses. And we rather attack the man for his weaknesses instead of bringing that man closer to Christ. Oh, how we miss this.
Well, we all have sinned.
That's it? What did you say?
We all have sinned.
We've all. This man decided, says he wants to talk about his weakness. So I'm saying this to say that. Because if we got to boast, then let it be about what we are doing wrong.
Yes.
So we can get help to fix it. Yes.
I was just thinking, I mean, that's freedom. When you're able to talk about your weaknesses or what
You've been known.
That's very free.
That's very what?
Freely.
Free. It's
Free.
Free.
Yeah.
Free. Oh, setting you free. Free.
Yeah.
I thought you said friend. I was like,
Free.
I was like, very friend. Free.
She said free.
Yeah, it's freeing. Yeah, free. Put the ing on. Then
I have an accent of it.
Give yourself.
But anyway, but you're right. That frees you. When you can finally let it go. So often do they do that to those that are in prison. Come on, man, just tell us everything. You'll feel better when you just open up and let it go. We as saints refuse to be transparent. Some of us come in with the attitude that I want to be better than the next person. Some of us come in with the idea that I am better than the next person. So you don't understand, I drive a Mercedes. You drive a Pinto? Yeah, right, okay. But you hear what I'm saying? So a lot of times we don't get it. We'd rather talk about our strengths. What can you do in the church? Well, let's see, I can preach, I can sing, I can do communion, I can do... Well then where is it that you're short? I've heard this a lot of times from my brothers. Well, no, I can do it all. I'm not short in anything. Wow. Wow, you're not short in anything. You can do it all. I can do it all. I've been in church for 40 years and I can do it all. So then why aren't you preaching? Then why aren't you teaching? Oh, let me give you one button there. Let's leave the preaching, teaching along, because you're right, that may not be your calling. But I know one that is. Where are those souls that should be following you? Well, where are they? Huh? Where are those souls? Since you say you have no weaknesses, then I need to see your... I'm sure, I know they're going to come in a little bit after you, right? Is that what you're saying? But you hear what I'm saying? This is how we get ourselves in trouble. Reveal your weaknesses. That's the only way I get help. That's the only way you can get help. I got some folks that I'm talking to now from a financial standpoint. Why? But I told them, if you don't tell me everything, I can't help you. Because if you hide something, then how can I help you? Well, I forgot to tell you about that building I got for $20,000. You see what I'm saying? But how can I help you? Unload your weaknesses in the church. Let me tell you, I'm having a problem. I change skirts all the time. Okay, now you can open up to me. Why? Because I can tell you, let me show you how I dealt with that. Wait, but you're the preacher. No. Y'all don't deal with stuff like that. Y'all holier than holy. No, I've been where you been.
Paul told Peter, face to face, eye to eye.
That's it. And it's fast, didn't it?
Yes.
When we learn to understand we're brothers and sisters in Christ, and I've always made this statement, if I can't come to my brothers and sisters, then where do I go? Who do I talk to? Because the world certainly wouldn't understand. And you call yourself a preacher. Did you hear me? I should be able to go to my brothers and sisters and explain or bring out my weaknesses, and then they should be saying, hold on. Well, I'll pray for you. Oh, y'all don't hear me. Well, I'll pray for you. No, I need more than prayer, brother. Did you hear me? I told you the issue that's at hand. I'm not saying prayer won't take care or won't help. But I got an issue at hand that I got a skirt watching problem. I need help on that issue. Yes. Now, talk to me and oh, by the way, pray later. But fix this. Help me fix this now. Yes, work with me now on these issues. I'm telling you guys, these are some issues. When I came to the church, I was told, you need to read your Bible more. I'm not kidding you. I was told this. You just need to read your Bible more. I said, okay. And when I got home, I said, let me get dressed so I can go to the club. Y'all hear me? Why? Oh, by the way, I'll read my Bible later on. Because you wouldn't help me with my problem, right? So I fixed this myself. And my problem is I need to be around a female. That's the problem. So let me go to my problem and fix that. And maybe later on I'll read. You see how sad this? You see how we miss the realistic things of life? We refuse to be transparent with one another, and because of this, the church suffers. So another brother walks out of here pretending like he's, yeah, I'm okay. Another sister, we always talk about brothers, but another sister that's got the same problem. She walks out because she couldn't get an answer. Then where should we go? To the church. Let me make myself perfectly clear. Paul says if he's got to boast, he's going to boast on his concerning his infirmities. But Paul, you can't do that because you're a minister. Oh yeah, he called it. Would you hear me? This is my point. But Paul says, but I can do that. See, I'm a Hebrew.
Yes.
See, Hebrew of Hebrews. See, I'm an Israelite. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Pharisee.
Yes.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm beyond. I'm not just the Pharisees of Pharisees. Do you understand what I am? I'm a Sanhedrin.
My father was a Pharisee.
Yes.
Yes.
What are you talking about? So, you know, here I am boasting to bring, watch this, and I have to be careful in my boasting because it is to reveal my weakness, not my strength. But it is to reveal my weakness. And Paul says, that's why I also mentioned these things. The human side of me said I was cold. The human side of me says I was hungry. The human side of me, did you catch this? These are my weaknesses. Why did you do what the church tell you to do? Why didn't you pray on it? Hello? So often do we miss that. Sometimes we don't get this. Well, I will ask the church to pray for me. When God is saying, but I've given you Galatians 5:22. I've equipped you. You don't need to pray for strength. You just need to look in your closet and get the strength. Did you hear me? You don't need to pray for peace. I've already given it to you. You just need to apply what I've given to you and start using it. I told you we got a world that's upside down right now. Don't even want to go to church. That is the world. But the saints say, so what time does worship start? I got a call this morning. I'm on my way to worship. Didn't ask me the time. I'll be there. And the word I heard that really made me shout with joy was, I'm coming to worship.
Amen.
I says, when we understand that, you're not coming to look at people. You're not coming to try to fix people's problems. I'm coming to give God the praise. I'm coming to give God the honor. And I keep telling folks, don't stop losing your focus on why you're here. And give God the glory. Give Him the honor. And oh, by the way, you know that problem that you had when you was on your way? It's gone. Isn't that something? You didn't even realize it. I made a statement. Y'all remember when I was actually said somebody had to come to me one day and said, I remember when I was preaching and I had to actually sit on this because my hip was really hurting me where I could barely get up. And somebody says, you shouldn't sit on the table because, you know, that is God's, where we do communion. No, I said, you're right, brother. So let me buy one of these for your sake. Hear me? Because that was your weakness. Since that's your weakness, let me help you. Let me help you with your weakness. I will educate you later. But this is not the time to educate you because we'll start a fire. And I says, I know better. I know that ain't nothing but wood. See, I know better. But that's not the time to bring this. What do you mean? So what do? I do pray. But I also say you've got to do. So let me bring a chair. Is that okay now, brother, if I can sit in the chair? Yeah? Okay. That's all needs to be said. Why? Because as you study your scriptures, you're going to find this ain't going to heaven.
That's right.
But a lot of times I told you, that's what I started off with. This is a building. That's all this is. You are the church. We would call it a sanctuary. The sanctuary would mean where God's presence does come here. But last time I checked, where 2 or 3 are gathered, He's in the midst. But so then you are a sanctuary. Then you are a temple. And let me remember this one for free. And let me get you to understand. 2 or 3 gathered together. When you really study that, did you know he's talking about the church? Hold on. Did you know he's talking about when this comes to an end, it may not be but a few people worship. But what happened to the thousands and thousands of people? You don't understand. He made that clear as a bell. Only a remnant will be saved. He made that clear as a bell. What are you talking about? When it's a remnant, by the way, 2 or 3 would only mean few. That's all he's saying. Where there are few. Well, we're headed that direction. You can't even see it. Look at your churches. You can't even see it. We're headed that direction. So what do you do? And I told you better. I got a few. I think you got one too. It's called your wake-up pill. You need to start taking your wake-up pill. We're closer to the end than you can think. Got to get out of this. He says, what? I got to get out of this. He says, 31 says what?
The God and Father of the Lord Jesus, who is to be praised forever, knows that I am not lying. In Damascus, the governor under King Aretas had a city of the Damascens gathered in order to arrest me. But I was over in the basket from the window to the wall and slipped in his hands.
Oh, that much my wife and took my phone. Yeah, took my phone.
Now you're in trouble.
Ain't that something?
Was that your phone going off?
Yeah.
So we killed Randy. Let me see.
That's right, Sister Thomas.
So what is it? Oh, then we got sisters backing up sisters. Lord, where the brothers at? Where the brothers at?
Last time I
You're
checked,
at work
you
right
helped
now.
me.
Playing on the phone.
So, guys, look at your text. He made it, says the God and the Father of our Lord Jesus, who is blessed forever. Who is blessed forever. Who is blessed forever. The Lord of our, look at it again. The Lord of our, look at it again. The God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who, whether you do it or not, whether you step up or not, whether you reveal your weaknesses or not, you catch it. Isn't that something? It ain't what you do that blesses God. It's what
He's done. The hard work is done already.
did you say? He's blessed forever. He's already done his works. I don't know, Genesis 1 on 2 says, and then especially the 3, he says, and then you go back and look at it, he says, and on the 7th day he rested. What do you mean? 7 is complete. He says, my work is complete. I've done my work. Let me ask you something. Have you done yours? Is our work complete? I don't think it is. As long as we are alive, our work isn't complete. So then we need to complete our work. Did you know somebody that completed their work with somebody this morning? Did you know somebody that completed his work? Enoch. What are you talking about? Enoch.
Then you got men, you call on the name of the Lord.
Isn't that something? What are you talking about? Well, you just said, what would you say?
Then you got men to call upon the name of the Lord with Enoch.
I wonder how that came about. Because he says he walked with God and was no more. But you were saying, then what happened after that?
Then you got men to call upon the name of
I wonder how that came about. See, all we see is Enoch walked with God and was no more. But what we don't see is that Enoch was your preacher. That's what he was. He was preaching. He was telling them who God was. God loved him so much because he's in a world of chaos. He's in a world that God don't like. He's ready to destroy it. He's ready to tear it down. And Enoch is standing up. No matter what. Can you imagine? Oh, Lord, look at Enoch, Lord. Can you imagine? Yeah, he come in. He gonna say, oh, I know mercy. He gonna talk this Jesus stuff. Come on. Stop and think about it. That should be the attitude that they have towards Jesus.
Yes.
Oh, Lord. Here comes Jim again. He gonna hey, Jim! Oh, come on, let's just hear it out. Don't you understand? God was so pleased because he was so bold.
Yes.
It didn't matter. Well, they ain't gonna listen. You know, I keep trying, they won't hear it. God ain't never told you to stop preaching or teaching the word. Because they won't listen. Because they won't go. Because they won't do this. God ain't never told you to stop. He says, go and make disciples.
Preach the word.
That's it. He said, be what in season and out of season. That's what God has told you. Watch this. Closing with this. He says, in Damascus, the governor under Aretas, the king, was guarding the city of Damascus with a garrison desiring to arrest him. I was led down, looked like it, here we go again. Your weaknesses. I was led down in a basket. See it? In a basket through a window in the wall and escaped from his hands. Whew! Thank God you was thinking, Paul. Whew! Thank God, Paul, you figured this thing out. Thank God you talked to the right people. Thank God they lowered you in the back. Thank God. Wait a minute. Where's God in this? Everything that is being done is by God's protecting him. See, you don't understand. You've got a garrison of men coming to get you. You got a coronavirus coming to get you. You got a God that's protecting you when you trust in him. If you don't trust in him, God never removes his arms of protection around you.
That's right.
Hold on. You do.
That's right. Amen.
Hold on. You do. You say thank you, but no thank you. You say, and I keep saying this over and over, you don't recognize deception. You don't recognize the deceiver of this world. You know, he told you this is a great time. You know, this is a fantastic time. You really don't have to come because the coronavirus is out there. You know, he's saying, you don't understand. If you come, sure, okay, you came, but so don't worry about it. This is Satan at work. And watch this. And he wants to remove God's arms of protection around you. He wants to. But God will not until you say, let go of me. I want to go. You told me I have a choice. You told me I can either choose you or hell. So let go of me. And you went about it your way. And what do you have? I've said this, even though God predicted it. Look at your churches, they're thinning out. I wonder why they're thinning out. Well, they're thinning out because people don't want to hear God's truth. How do you know when you don't talk to them? How do you know when you don't talk to the people? How do you know? How do you know that God's got that remnant that was right beside you at the job, that gave you little problems at the beginning, but you don't know it, but that's who God chose? I tell folks, I says when I go back home, they couldn't believe not this guy. He can't be a preacher. Did you hear me? You don't know what God can do until you allow him to come into your life to do it. When you stop fighting him, God says, now you're ready, because you don't get it. You ain't leaving this world till my will is completed anyway. So how you want to work this? My time has expired, guys.